We painted 100 Halloween rocks in 20 different designs. We are on part 3 of our recaps from the live tutorials. The first one we're going to do today are our adorable ghosts holding things. Now the tutorial for this is quick and easy. I will show you the layout of the ghost body here. You're going to have to do 2 coats on the white. So make sure that first layer is dry all the way. When you're applying your second layer, I always like to kind of use the side of my pen. Make sure your pen is flowing really well and only touch each section once because while it's dry to the touch, it is not 100% dry yet. And the rest is just lining. We're gonna outline our entire ghost. We're gonna add on a face, just 2 big eyes, 1 small mouth, super simple. And then we're gonna add on arms. Now you can do 2 arms or a single arm, depending on what you're going to have your ghost holding. So like for this one, I have 1 arm, it's gonna be holding a trick-or-treating pail. I went back and forth on this too, like is the line supposed to go over the hand or under the hand, and I messed up and we'll fix it later, don't worry about it. That's not a hard thing to fix. So on this one, we're gonna continue adding on our orange trick-or-treating pail. On this next one, we are gonna add a stone. He's gonna be holding a painted kindness rock. I'm gonna show, here are the designs we did last year. As you can see, there is literally endless things that you can have your ghosts holding. I'm doing a skull here on this one. And a lot of these ideas came from the live. Our people in the comments were giving us all sorts of fun ideas of what we could be painting. Next, we're gonna come back, we're gonna fix that hand. See, simple fix, already better. Put a jack-o'-lantern face onto our pumpkin. And then we added a pumpkin onto our painted rock. Now the last one we did during our live was a bat being held, and instead of it being a hand, we wanted it to be an arm. So we pulled the shape a little bit longer and then added on this super simple bat. I loved all of the ideas that were flowing in, and the last one I painted after I was done with the live was a paintbrush with a painter's palette, and that was a suggestion from the group as well. As you can see here, also double dot those eyes to have a really cute highlight. Next, we are on to our witches. We've done these in the past. They're super cute and they're very fun. Once you see the layout, there's lots of ways that you can play around with the design. Start by putting your face shape on your rock. I like to do them green. Other people have done them in like purples or skin tone, whatever you want to do. Once you have your face on your rock, we're going to start adding our hats. I like the hat triangle to come all the way out to the edges of the circle and then add on the rim of the hat. Fill in the hat. The edges do not have to be straight. They can be bumpy and jagged if you want to. And I always put a little bit of a body. I don't like my heads floating. So you can just do an upside down U shape. Now you can also make your hat so that it's kind of folding off to the side if you want to. So I'm going to kind of show you how I do that here. You want to have pointier edges. You don't want to have it rounded over because it's going to be kind of bending and folding. So go ahead and give it some sharp edges as it folds over and then fill it in black. Now it's time to give our witches some hair. I was putting down white dots and pulling the black through it just so you could have different variations of grays and blacks so it didn't completely match the hat. Make the hair wavy and fun. You can have some pieces poking out from under the hat as well. Put on wide set eyes and a small little smile. Now you'll see here I made purple hair, I made white hair. Like you can really play around with this design and have fun with your witch's style. You can also go on and add like a spider hanging down from the spider hat if you want, which is a cute little detail. Don't forget to give them a little bit of a web. And then you always got to come in and highlight your eyes. So you can double dot highlight your eyes, or if you don't have enough space, you can just go in there and do a singular dot as well. These ladies are cute. So this next one, we're going to do more of a natural style pumpkin. So you'll see here, to do a simple pumpkin, we're just going to do 3 ovals standing on their sides to get our pumpkin shape on here, and we're filling them in as well. Once you have all 3 on and filled in, you can kind of play around with the outline edge of your pumpkin if you need to, just so that you like how it is. We are talking a little color theory here. So if you go across the color wheel from your color, you can use that color to shadow. So the blue is across from orange, and we're going to use our blue paint pen to create our shadow color. So I put a stripe of blue down, and then I'm going to come right back in with my orange while it's wet, and I'm going to work into that blue, and it's going to create this kind of shadow orange color. So we're going to go along the ribs of the pumpkin and along the outer edge of the pumpkin as well. So just work back and forth with your orange and blue. And I do have my piece of paper over here. I will be doodling off a lot within this tutorial. This is definitely just kind of a fun technique that you can try to play around with creating the shadows without using black. And on this pumpkin, we're not going to use any black for our lining either. Now I did carry the shadow to the underside of the pumpkin, so make sure you keep track which side is top and bottom, because we are going to come back here afterwards and add on a stem. So once you're happy with your pumpkin, get yourself an extra fine tip green, and we're going to put on our stem. So we're going to start with a line along the top, and we're going to arch it back down towards the pumpkin to fill in. And then we are going to add on some vines. I like to kind of have them touch the pumpkin, bounce off. Curls are fun. I always make it a little bit thicker towards the top of the stem, and it kind of thins out as it works its way further down the pumpkin. And we're going to use the same technique as far as filling in this pumpkin's shadows. So across from green on the color wheel is red. So red is what we're going to be using underneath on the underside of these vines. So we're going to just dash on some of that red and then come back with the green and blend it out. This will help us give kind of a layered effect for our curls as well. So just take your time with this and kind of just play around going back and forth between the colors. And again, I will be doodling off the tip of the paint pen from time to time. You want it to kind of get back to that solid green color as well along the top of all of the vines, which will almost create a highlight style effect. Make sure to work both sides of your vines separately so that the red paint doesn't dry before you can come back with your green to blend it out. Now I did come back into the pumpkins on a few of them with a brush to kind of blend it out a little bit more, but as I worked through them, I realized that this step was kind of unnecessary. So it's up to you. It depends on how smooth of a blend you want your pumpkins to have. But I think they looked kind of great either way. When you see the picture of all these together, it's hard to tell which ones I used a brush on and which ones I just worked with the paint pens. The last one from this week's set of rocks are our Peking Eye rocks, and these are a fan favorite. I have done these quite a few years in a row, so you can play around with fun color combinations on these and how many eyes you want peeking out. They're basically just stacked horizontally, and they're going to need 2 coats, so that's why we put the eyeballs on here first so they get a second to dry. Now pick out your colors. We're using jeweled tones this season, and start splitting your spaces around the eyes. So I'm going to do this rock with a section of purple at the bottom and the top, and I'm going to fill the center in a separate color. So go ahead and fill in your sections as you are separating them, just in case you need a second coat of your colors. And then just get pretty close to the other color. Don't worry about touching. We are going to line everything when we're done to do the underside of each section. So when it's done, it should be a football shape around the eyes or an eyeball shape around the eyes. Fill them in. Now this is stacked vertically. I'm also going to show you, you can do these horizontally as well. If you have 2 eyes, you can open and close around each eye, just leaving behind that football shape where they are peeking through. Once your layers are completely dry, we're going to come back with our extra fine tip black, and we are going to line our designs. So just go along the seam in either direction around your eyes. Repeat around each of your eye sets that you have on your stone. Then you're going to outline your eyes and fill in the negative space around the eyes in the gaps where they're peeking through. Next, come along all the seams, and you can add little hashes and X's like it's stitched together. And then we're also going to add these lines to make it bunched up like it's pushing the fabric apart. So we're going to create these lines on the top and bottom of our eye shapes. It's going to follow the curve. You can kind of dash or dot your way along that opening where the eyeballs are peeking out. So you also need to come back and add pupils. I like to have these tiny little beady eye pupils on these designs. And then I also like to do kind of a black edge all the way around. It kind of cleans it all up. I just use the medium tip side just so it was thicker, working my way all the way around to kind of give it a nice finished look. Now, if you don't have the space to kind of create the X's along the seams, you can also add hashes and X's on the fabric itself, and it will turn out really cute like that as well. Up next, we have our haunted house silhouettes, candy corn flowers, transparent ghosts, and skeleton peace signs. Follow so you don't miss it.